Right, it's 9 a.m. on the nose. Let's get rolling, and welcome everybody. Thanks for coming. A couple things I want to touch base on today is number one, what do you guys want to talk about today? Do I hear crickets chirping? I mean, because you wonder. I want to make sure that I want to. There's so much to this deal. Perfect. Go for it.
I do have a question, and I meant to ask it about 3 weeks ago, but I somehow got muted out.
Okay.
John was talking about, well, you also were talking about not approaching a merchant trying to sell them on a price cut. So I'm not sure I really understand how to go in and get their attention without bringing up price cut or lowering the price because
sure.
You tend to get a cold shoulder anyway.
You know what?
Most of the time, so.
Perfect. That's a great question. That's a really good, because really the premise, it's funny. It's like, and I don't know how to quite articulate this. I'm not very articulate. So, it's you ever know a way of doing something that, and thank God that it's like this, because this is why inventions are invented, is that our industry, the merchant is programmed because, it is competitive. They're getting hit up by everybody and their brother. They are programmed to hear, I can save you money. They're programmed to hear that. And so it's almost like you almost need to come in that way. And what happens is that through the discovery process, through the sales process itself, what you find is you start basing the sale on something besides the money. And that's why I always recommend saying a better program. And they go, well, I got the best rates in town. Oh, okay, I understand what you're saying, but program doesn't always mean rates. And when someone comes back to me with that, I go, oh, okay, so good rates are important to you then, right? And they go, well, of course. Great. And then I jump right into discovery. I go, oh, no kidding. Who do you process with? Oh, I use ABC Bank. Oh, really? What kind of, and then I may go, oh, well, what do you process? Do you have like a terminal? Oh, you got a terminal right there. What kind of terminal is that? And I have to engage them. I have to engage them in conversation. If I stay on the money thing and they already think they got the best deal, I might be sinking myself. And it's a tough transition. It's kind of one of those things where you kind of need to be like on my game. I need to be right on it. And I divert the attention away from the rates themselves to maybe just their program. And ask them about their program. And depending on what type of merchant scenario you're dealing with, ask them what kind of equipment they're using. How do they take, obviously it's a restaurant. I mean, that's going to be kind of a straight up deal. Oh, okay, so do you run the loyalty program for your customers on that terminal? And they go, loyalty program? I go, yeah, like you have gift cards and stuff, right? Well, no, I don't. Oh, no kidding. I mean, I would imagine, Mr. and Mrs. Merchant, that when someone comes into your restaurant to eat, you probably want them to come back and eat again, right? And I'd seen some statistics, and someone on the call may know better than I do, but like restaurants, I think their business is 80% repeat at a restaurant.
Right.
So you want to increase that. You want people coming back, right? You want to entice them to come back. Because let me ask you, does everybody here, do you go out to eat?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we all go out to eat, right? Do you go out to eat? Do you ever have a time where you go, well, we have choices. I can either go here or here, right? That every time you go out to eat. And what makes one person besides the food maybe? I use an example. And I know Cam's on the phone. Cam took me to a restaurant in Atlanta. If you're ever there, go to Bones. It is, I freaking love that place. I threatened to pop a tent in there and sleep there and live there as long as I could be there. It is so good. And then Cam was like, there's another steakhouse that we should go to, and I can't remember the name of it now. It's because we can try that one next time. And I'm thinking, boy, I'm going to have 2 steakhouses in Atlanta that I really love. So what maybe something besides, if I love them both, maybe it's a location issue, or maybe go, oh no, let's go over to this one because we get a free bottle of wine, or let's go over to this one because they're going to, do something special for us because we're repeat customers. That's a loyalty program. That may be the decision maker if I go here or here. So do you have anything like that you offer your customers? And some restaurants don't care. But if I don't ask these questions to get in there and take the mindset off of, hey, it's not always the dollars and cents issue, right? Right, it's a quality issue. And if I don't start asking those questions, I can't ever get away from the dollars and cents piece. I'm stuck. I'm chained to it. And you'll see, and we've all seen it, especially if you deal with some of these larger accounts that are successful. Man, they're getting great rates already. So what other value can we bring to the table? But I'll admit, I still do it too. I go in and go, hey, I would imagine that if you could get a better program without sacrificing any quality in your service, that would help you, wouldn't it? Well, yeah, but we got a pretty good program already. As soon as they say that, I go right into Q&A. I go, oh, no kidding, who do you currently process with? Oh, okay, great. So let me ask you, what kind of equipment are you using? Or how do you take the card, depending on what kind of business it is. If I go, well, what are your rates? If I talk about that, that's going to be the sole premise. I have to get out of that. Does that make sense, everybody? And I know it's kind of hard without a real solid, like, here's exactly what happened example. But you have to divert the attentions to it. Or away from it, I should say.
Yeah. Not only the merchants program for it, we are too, though.
Yeah, exactly. So it's tough.
Getting out of that.
Getting out of that, and it takes huge discipline and patience to be able to talk your way out of the dollars and cents piece into more of the relationship, more of, what other services are you offering your customers. So I know that's a tough one, and I think that Clover's helping a lot of agents with that because there's more things that you can bring to the table. And granted, some accounts aren't going to use Clover. Maybe it's a big restaurant. They don't need it. They got their own point of sale system.
Hey, Chuck, what about the give back?
Give back, great example. There you go. There's a value-added proposition with the give back. And does everybody know how the give back works?
Not really.
Not really. We donate 10% of our proceeds on their account to a charity of the merchant's choice, but we do it on their behalf. So let's say you go to a merchant and they go, well, I want to donate to my church. That's a very common one we get a lot. So what we would do is we would mail a check to the church, and in the little line item on that check, it'd say this is basically, it will say the name of the merchant, and that's why they're getting the money. Because this merchant elected them as their give back recipient. And what you want to do with the give back too is you want to, try to do things that, like, because every merchant's got a particular type of audience, right? Like I have a friend, she owns a hair salon, and she says, my customers range between the ages of 25 to 40. And 98% of them are women. So if she's doing the give back, you want to give back to something where your audience, your 25 to 40-year-old women, that's where they go. That's what they belong to, or that's what they champion. You want to donate back to where your audience is.
Chuck, how do they know? How does a merchant know that the donation is taking place?
Well, I mean, they can always. They're notified, yeah.
They're notified by how?
I think they're notified. How do? And Amy will know better than that. And you know what I've always told the merchant too is I go, you know what? Call the nonprofit. If you're concerned. I've had merchants call in.
I just tell them that the nonprofit will send them a notification of whatever they received.
Well, maybe not, or maybe not, because you got to realize the merchant's not donating the money. We are.
I understand.
We're donating the money. Mm-hmm.
But why wouldn't the recipient, the nonprofit, send it to the merchant? You follow me? You gave us some specimen, sheets in regards to that. That's what I usually tell my customer anyway.
Well, I can't speak for the nonprofits because I don't know what they do. I know we get a lot of thank you letters here from the nonprofit saying thank you for your donation.
Oh, okay.
We get a lot of that because the check says First Financial on it. It doesn't say, as far as the account the check is coming from is First Financial's account. It's not coming from the merchants.
Oh, okay.
So, you're
right.
Look,
I understand.
right. And you know what? If you're concerned, get a hold of the nonprofit. Because I would
Right.
certainly want the nonprofit to know that.
Well, I had one of my customers follow up on it and spoke to Tim about it, and I don't know how Tim ever resolved it, but I hadn't heard anything from the customer.
Well, so it was obviously resolved.
Right.
Look, we want to donate back. For a couple
Sure.
reasons. Number one, it's the right thing to do. We've been pretty
Sure.
lucky. It's a good thing to do. Number two is it gives you a great opportunity to go back to that nonprofit, which I'm sure you've probably done this, right? And you've tried to get more merchants from them. Have you done that yet? Well, hey, you're missing an opportunity. Boy, if I was sending somebody money every month or every quarter, or however long it takes them for the merchant to process, I would certainly be following up with them going, look, you like getting those checks, right? Wouldn't it be nice if we could increase the size of those checks?
Right.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why it's designed. Because when you do the give back, the first thing I would want to do as an agent is I would contact that nonprofit and go, hey, my name's Chuck Fowler with First Financial. How you doing? Great. See, I'm reaching out to you. Let me ask you who their handles, like how do we send donations? Who do we send them to? Attention to whom? And they'll go, oh, well, are you donating something? Great. Now I've opened it up for conversation about the program. I can explain the program. Here's why you're getting, let me ask you, I mean, you guys are always looking to increase donations, right? Ask a tie down right here. Yes, we're always looking to increase donations. Well, you know what? We are going to donate on behalf of this merchant. Let me ask you, do you guys take cards too? Oh, you do? Great. You know what we should do is we should look at that. Well, let me ask you, do you know any other merchants that champion your cause? You can go to a lot of these nonprofit websites, and you can see they'll list merchants that support them.
Okay.
I mean, it's a great tool to get in and I'll tell you, in associations, nonprofits, joint venture relationships like that is how you make a lot of money in this industry. And Cam, I know you're on the call, buddy. How much do we send to your biggest association every year?
About 10 grand.
10 grand a year we send them.
Wow.
Now, that's 10 grand a year. They don't have to worry about coming from somewhere else. They know it's coming in, just like your guys' residuals. Hey, I'm staying active. I know I get my residuals every month. They rely on that money. That becomes an important thing for them. So then they start going, hey, how do we increase that? So you can use the give back as a wonderful, wonderful tool. But you're right. I'm glad you brought that up. If it's price, hey, you're not going to beat my price. I don't care. I'm not really open to that. I got a great program. There's not a lot you're going to come in. I have gift cards. I have all these things. I'm pretty shored up with that. Give back is a wonderful thing to go to them with. Does it win every time? No, but no one wins every time. Michael Jordan didn't hit every bucket. It doesn't work that way. So the example is always, you don't have to win every battle. You just have to win the war.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So, and two is follow up. We had a merchant call in here the other day that an agent was trying to work the account, and this was like 3 years ago. The agent was trying to work the account and quit basically following up with the merchant. And the merchant called in and goes, yeah, I had your name, so I Googled you and got your number. And I've been trying to get a hold of XYZ agent. So we reached out to the agent. We go, hey, this potential customer, and the agent's like, I got this other job. I don't have time right now. Well, okay. And so we ended up writing the account here, and I think the upfront comm on it was like $700-800, and it's worth about $300 a month in residual income. And the agent made like 2 or 3 calls to the merchant. That was it. And so you look at that and you go, you know what? And follow-up is the most important part of I think the sales process aside from rapport is follow-up, because most people say they'll follow up, but they never do. And if you're not using Connect, if you're using something else, please make sure that you're staying consistent with that, Because really, how long does it take to reach out to a merchant a quick phone call?
Sure.
What did you get? 3-5 minutes? Hey, just touching base. How are things going? Because if you ever been in a scenario where you had a product or service that, yeah, you may have been fine with it. You know, hey, I've been using these guys for 2 years. I'm fine with it. And then one day out of the blue, something odd happens that really pisses you off. And you go, you know what? I'm looking for a new home. I need a new relationship. And who do you think you'd be most likely to follow up with? Someone who's been religiously following up with you? Or do you think you're just going to go try to find someone new?
Religiously following up with you.
Yeah. Yeah, so we want to make sure that we have outstanding follow-up. And go ahead, Cam. Cam, you can really add a lot to this because I know he does it.
Sir, if you're pleasantly persistent, you're going to find a lot of times these people that didn't want to talk to you at all in the beginning, the wall comes down. I made a sale last week with a business that has 3 locations because the wall came down. And that happens.
Right.
What part of Cam? What part of Atlanta are you working?
I work all over the state, but I live in East Cobb.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got a brother over in East Cobb.
So you look at that. Yeah, send him Cam's way. He can work the guy and get him making some money out there. So.
Hey Cam, this is John Eliason. How long have you been pursuing these people, and what was it? You said the wall came down. What?
About a year. And I would touch base with them every 6 months. Every 3 months. And
so what do you attribute it to? Why?
The reason that they wanted to that they were open at this particular point was being EMV compliant.
Yeah.
That was the thing.
Mm-hmm.
How can we do that?
Well, and like Chuck said, you have no, you don't know why, why all of a sudden somebody's open, but it could be, it's interesting because today there's so much competition, people are telemarketing, but the thing is that approach, that cold approach, has gotten less and less effective, I think, because people come and go, and I don't know about you guys, do you think people are less trusting of
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so too. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of time. What do you call it, Cam? I've never heard it. Pleasantly persistent. If you're pleasantly persistent, and you call, you touch and base on whatever, and all of a sudden they go, something happens. Either maybe they have a bad experience with the processor, or something changed, or EMV. I mean, you have no idea, or they just, they haven't. The existing company hasn't contacted them for a while, and in any relationship, if you don't touch base with somebody after a certain amount of time, they start thinking you don't love them anymore. So it could be, and then all of a sudden you're there. It's like, man, Cam loves me, or whomever. Good for you.
Thanks, bud.
And that's exactly, some people just aren't going to be open the first time you talk to them anyway. It doesn't matter if you were JC walking in the door and talking to them, it doesn't matter. They're just not going to be open. There's just no other ways about it. But that's relationship. And when you do that contact, as Cam said, they go, because do you ever have someone do something that, like, I'm going to give you a good example. It's one that I'll and the guy just passed away last year, and it stuck with me. The guy taught me a lot. And I remember, like, 15 years ago, I just started playing golf, and I went to a golf course, and I said, hey, I was a walk-on, I was and I didn't have a tee time, and I go, is there any way I can sneak on? And the guy was like, well, we have a group that goes out every Saturday at this time. Let me see if they got any spots. She goes, yeah, I'm going to hook you up, and they called it the Braff Group. The guy's name was John Braff. I'm going to hook you up with the Braff Group. I said, great. Okay, so I went out and I played 9 holes with them. And as I was leaving, the guy came over and he says, hey, Charlie, he says, give me your phone number. We'll call you next week on a tee time. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. I'll give you my phone number. You know how it goes, right? Yeah,
Right.
sure you're going to call me, whatever. Heard that song and dance before. I kid you not, for the next probably 10 years, every Thursday the guy would call and say, he'd tell me what time the tea time was. We can't wait to see you there. And I formulated a lot of great relationships out of it. And it surprised me when he called. I was like, hello? And he goes, hey, this is John. Do you remember me from golf on Saturday? And I'm like, well, yeah. And he goes, hey, we got a tea time. Hope to see you there at 8:30. And so I showed up and I played. Same thing happens from a merchant's perspective or a customer's perspective. You're a customer. You've probably had this happen to you where they go, all right, you know what, sir, we'll follow up with you. Or ma'am, we'll follow up with you, and we get an answer. And when that person actually does that, what do you think about that? You go, holy cow. This person did exactly what they said they were going to do. So some people
and most people don't.
And most people don't, right. So when you do that, they go, holy shit. They go, this guy did exactly what he said he was going to do. That's the anomaly of it, is that'll set you above the competition because you're doing exactly what you said you would do. Look, I said I'd follow up with you, so I'm going to.
Well, what does Harvey McKay say? I forget what the whole rundown is when 80% of winning is just showing up. 85 is showing up with something to say. 90 is showing up. It goes on and on. But 80% is just showing up and consistency.
And showing up and consistent. And you always want to be the same. It's always you always want to be the same. When I call you, you know which Chuck Fowler you're going to get. I'm the same every time I talk to you. So that's what you want to do. You want to be consistent with them. Every time I call, you know what salesperson, I don't want to say salesperson, let's say consultant. You know what consultant you're going to get or what advisor you're going to get because it's the same every time. It's a pillar. It's somebody who's solid. It's somebody that I want to entrust my cash flow to because this person is solid. Every time I talk to them, it's the same. It's I know what I can get. I know what I can expect. I know what I can count on. And that's how you establish that trust level where they will go, you know what, I've talked to you over the last year and EMV's coming, so you know what, there again, I knew you'd call, so I've been waiting for you. Yes, we're ready to make a move, and there you go. Cam added another account, and I'm sure he appreciates the money and the revenue he's going to make off that in the relationship. So just stay consistent. Does that make sense?
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Sure.
and that's the hard part. That's the hard part.
What's the best use of referrals?
What's that?
What's the best use? I mean, how would approaching referrals from previous
like what's
customers?
my intro to the referral when I meet with them or call them?
Sounds good. Sure.
Okay. I guess it depends. One thing is that I always like to do when someone goes, hey, here's somebody you can call. And what I always like to do, I'm big on dynamics. I'll go, well, how do you know this guy? Oh, he's my fishing buddy, or he's somebody that goes to my church, or his kid and my kid play volleyball together. Oh, and then I always want to know, how'd this come up? How'd this come up? And you go, well, I was talking to him at a business meeting, and he was ranting and raving about his current processor, and he was pissed off at him. So I think you might want to give the guy a call. Great. Now I've got some dynamics when I approach the guy or the woman or whatever. So I'd go, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Merchant, I wanted to reach out to you. I was talking to so-and-so. Oh, yeah, I was, he thought I should touch base with you. He said you got some things going on. Oh, okay, great. And then I might go to them, too. I go, how do you even know so-and-so? Because when they start articulating the relationship they have with this person, it starts getting very friendly. They go, oh, yeah, I saved his life in NAM. Oh, no kidding. You were NAM with him? Yeah, you shared a foxhole? Great. Well, he obviously thinks very highly of you because he asked me to give you a call. And then I go right into discovery. So what's going on? You take cards now? What kind of business do you have? I get right into it. But at first, I talk about the dynamics of the relationship that he has with this other person. Because obviously someone's not going to go, hey, here's my mortal enemy. Here's the person I hate. Can you call them and help them out on their credit card account? I mean, that's not going to happen. They're going to go, here's someone that I'm trying to help out. Can you reach out to him? Or, hey, I just heard this guy talking about this problem, so you might want to reach out to him. And then I want to get the dynamics of their relationship, because once they explain that to me, then I know what weight I'm going to have going into the deal. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I heard a guy call referral one time. He called a referral and he goes, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Merchant, my name's Chuck Fowler, my name's what his name was. And he says, hey, I was giving you a call. I was just talking to so-and-so, and they asked me to reach out to you. And the guy goes, oh, yeah. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm really excited that you were talking to my friend here. And he totally blew over, and he goes, yeah, so you take credit cards at your business? And the guy immediately deflated. He wanted to talk about his buddy for a second. And he totally deflated the deal, and then the guy got cold and didn't want to move forward with him. It's like, man, you got to pump up the relationship. You got to rib that relationship a little bit. And you might go, yeah, he said he kicked your ass in golf this weekend. What's that all about? Whatever it is. You got to throw something out there. And he goes, yeah, that SOB took me for 5 skins this weekend. So you want to relate it. Then all of a sudden, you're in. You know something. Because I remember, who was it, John, that you were saying that was, I can't remember, they go, because I remember one time someone said to John, they go, it's all business. It's not personal. And John, I won't use the words that John said, but he said,
well,
why? I think business is personal.
It's all life. I think it's weird when people say that. Hey, it's not personal, it's just business. And I go, well, that's bullshit. I'll throw the words out there. It's not that. It's all life. And we're in this life, and sometimes people think that when we're selling something, well, you've got to go about it. Most people go about it just. If most people in sales went about it really effectively, then they'd make a lot of money. And because there's a lot of money to be made in sales, and there's a lot of relationships to build, and all these things. But they don't. What they do is they go about it kind of like Chuck was saying. If there's a referral, how do you go about a referral? You go, wow, hey, you know what? You want to, because rapport and relationship is the biggest thing in a sale, right? Right.
Absolutely.
So you want your whole relationship and sale and ongoing relationship with this person is based around rapport and relationship, and so there's always a story, like if you can incorporate a story like Chuck was telling about his golf story. It's like, okay, that makes sense. And any time that somebody uses some sort of, like one of the, on that merchant tune-up sheet, we have right off the bat, one of the best questions we've ever learned to ask is, how did you get into this business? Said like that, instead of like most people when they go in and sell, the rapport and relationship is, hey, how about those Vikings? Oh, anyway, good. Oh, or how are you? Oh, good. When somebody ever says good, that means they really aren't caring what you're saying. They just want to get into their pitch, and then they give you this glorious pitch, and you're not really paying attention. And then you're supposed to overcome objections and then close. But it's funny that the people that really make all the money don't really do it that way. They go with like Chuck was saying, oh, how do you know him? Oh, you did this together? Man, he told me he just took you for, would Chuck say 5 skins on golf on Saturday. What happened? And it's like, oh man, now you're in conversation and you've got rapport and relationship. A referral, the guy who asked about how do you go about a referral is you got to understand, I always call it, I think I didn't make this up, but I heard it said like this before. When you work with a referral, you're basking in the reflected glory of that existing relationship. So it's yours to lose, but it's yours to gain because you've got a relationship, or because there's a relationship and it's a referral, you already have an in, as opposed to most people who have to work really hard and go through 50 people to get an in. That's why referrals are so valuable. Is you go, hey, and you really work that referral, that relationship of those other 2 people is really the seed that's the important part, and you just try to get that to grow a little bit and become a part of it, and then now you're in the club, and that's the value of I don't know if that's said well, but it came out fair enough, but Yeah, it's all life, man. It's just all life and relationships and people go. I think people in sales, and Chuck corrected himself earlier and said consulting. You know, it's like building relationships and consulting. I think when somebody says I closed the deal, I go, yeah. I think I'd use different words to describe that. It's like, man, I opened this relationship because now I want to get. Not only do I want to get the deal, I got the deal, and I have a sale and I have money, but now I have a relationship, and the first thing I'm going to do is try to establish more. I'm going to ask for referrals because instead of having to go through 50 cold people to get somebody who will listen to me these days, all I've got to do is most of those referrals will listen to me because their relationship, not mine. So, man, those referrals there's the science of referrals. It's all about this little already existing kernel of relationship. You just got to get to pop open a little bit and then become a part of it, and you've got a strong chance of getting in fast. And there's, you can write so much more business, and then if you ask the referrals for referrals, whether to say yes or no, because sometimes timing's not right. Anyway, I'm going down a different road, but boy, yeah, it's not what most salespeople think it is. It's successful anyway. It's a little different, and it's much more humane, much easier. I shouldn't say it's easier. It's all a challenge, but it's much more rewarding, and you can do it for a longer period of time. Especially when you ask for referrals, you can do it for a long, long time because it's all warm, as opposed to all cold, and that's hard.
Cold calling's super, super difficult.
And it's become more difficult. Like just like Cam was saying, it's trust. It's this trust thing that cold calls today, we found they're about 40% less effective. Wouldn't you say, Chuck? You've got to make 100 calls, you got to make 140 to get the same result maybe you did 6 years ago.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And you can't sustain that. It's kind of like you can't run full speed. That's why you can't. You look at a marathon runner, and you look at their best mile in the race, and if their best mile was 5 minutes, let's say, they could run quicker than a 5-minute mile, but they just can't sustain that for the length of a marathon. You can't sell that way. It's too. You can't run that hard. You got to.
Well, I think it's like running a marathon and then having to fight at the same time. It's like a full.
Right.
It's like a full contact boxing match as you're running a marathon.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It's just not that way. So you just so really work on the whatever system you're using. I we've talked a lot about that over time, and I know a lot of you guys have been around a while, and you have phenomenal systems set up for yourselves, and some of you want to work on that, need to work on that. But use Connect. Connect's intuitive to that. We use it here. I would use that. If you have something else, make sure. And if you're not sure, how often do I follow up? What do I say when I follow up? Those are things you want to rely on your team here. Call your agent director and go, hey, look, I want to follow up with this guy. I just don't know what the hell to say. And that's fine. We want to help you strategize that stuff, because that's where it gets lost is in the strategy of it. Anybody can get anybody in the EMV terminal. Anybody, and really, it wasn't the EMV terminal that sold Cam's deal. You guys know that, right? It was Cam's relationship. That phenomenal follow-up is what sold it. The EMV just was something that had to get dealt with, and naturally, this person's been following up with us. We trust him now. Yeah, we're going to listen to what he has to say. It's not the terminal. It's the relationship. It's not the rate. It's the relationship. It's not the clover. It's not the gift card. It's not the value-added propositions. It's the relationship. And you notice how every call, every Monday, what does it always come back to?
Relationship.
Yeah. It's like that is like the theme in every single thing that we talk about. It's always the relationship piece. Because people are very forgiving if you have a relationship with them. You don't have to be the rock star and have. That's why I always like when new agents come on, and I can feel this a little bit too, and I understand it. And they go, I need to know everything I can about the industry. And I always go, well, let me ask you, why? Because I understand the whys, but I want to know why they think they need to know everything. That way, when I go into a merchant, I sound like I know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay? Do you know how to build relationships? Yes. Do you know how to ask good questions? Yes. All right, great. Let's go out and get some statements. Because all you need to do is build that relationship, and whatever a merchant comes back to me with that I don't know, if I have that relationship with them, they're going to accept, you know what, I'm going to jot that down. I'm going to go to my underwriter, and I'm going to get the right answer for you. They accept that because I have a relationship with them. If I don't have a relationship, they're going to kind of bust my tail a little bit, and they're not going to be very forgiving, right?
Right.
Yeah. You know, so think about that. Just establish great relationships. All you got to do. It's that simple. It is that simple. And then do what you say you're going to do. Any other questions?
You know when the Google app for Connect is going to come through?
John can probably speak better to that than I can.
What are you asking, like how to sync with the Google Calendar? Or what are you asking?
I'm asking when you spoke about programming something that will interface with Google, an app, so that we could use Connect in relationship to our already established Google database. You said you had some programming. I wondered what the timeline was.
Yeah. Well, what you need to do right now is to be able to take your contacts from, if you've got Google, whether you have Outlook or you've got your contacts in some sort of Google situation, they just need to be exported, and then we can import them, or you can import them really easily. We've got a fantastic import function with Connect, and there's a little so get them out of Google. Just export them out of Google, and then they're easily imported into Connect, so you can use them there. And so what you do is when you have a file ready,
and we can, you know what we can probably do, John, if you want, is we can have you reach out to Michelle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We can, let your agent director know that you want to connect with Michelle, because she can help you with that. Because it's a little bit of a process, but it works pretty slick. So she can definitely help you with that.
Right. And let me give another pitch for Connect too. There's when you log on, there's a few videos that I filmed not long ago, and it really gives it ties in this whole like Cam was talking about. I'm contacting these people and getting in circulation. I'm going back, and Chuck said, how long does it take to touch base? 3 minutes? 3-4 minutes, I think is exactly what he said. How do you get the people in? How do you circulate? How do you know who to get in contact with when? There's little videos talk about exactly that, and how to put them in Connect, how to use Connect, how to use it to exactly to filter your best people to the top at all times, so that you can make so that you don't have to wonder who to contact right now. You don't have to filter. You don't have to search through like who am I going to contact today. When you put your contacts in Connect, it shows you how to label them so that all your best stuff comes up every day, all the time. You hit first things first, which helps you make the greatest amount of money, be most effective, and make the greatest amount of money. How do you keep in contact? Who are you calling? Who are you emailing? That kind of thing. Just watch those little videos, and I'd love to get your feedback too on these calls. It's love to hear about it. Connect is something that we used for years. We just didn't call it Connect, and it's just the form that it's in. It works pretty slick. It works pretty slick.
Yeah, it does.
I wouldn't leave home without it.
Okay.
And there was. Thank you. Someone else had a question too, ma'am.
Yes. On the comparison to Apple Pay and the mobile pay and the Square in the market right now, there's a competition to the mobile pay.
Okay.
I have a client who would like to set up her whole family on the Square, which is the mobile pay.
Right.
They're using PayPal right now, and they want to swipe their card and pay their bill.
Swipe their card and pay their bill. I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that, but you know what I would do is, who's your agent director?
I just got a new one. I'm new to the company.
Okay, well, welcome. We appreciate you joining us. Let's reach out to your agent director, and then
I can have John get a hold of you, Patrice. This is Amy. I'll make sure that John gets in touch with you.
Yeah, and then we'll ask a little more. I mean, that's going to take a little bit of a back and forth to kind of figure out what exactly you're looking for, and then we'll figure out what's best for the merchant. Because when you're new, sometimes you're not sure what questions to ask. That's why you need to get us involved. Let me help me help you. Let's get involved with the merchant and let's find out what's best for them. Thank you for that too.
Because of the changes that's going on in the credit card system and the conversions that need to be done to bring people more up to scale. There's competition out there. There's EVO that we're competing against. There's CPay.
Right. Yeah. I got it. I completely got it. And because, even more important, because there is a lot of competition out there, even more important to do this the right way. Not take shortcuts. Make sure we set it up exactly how we need to set it up, from the initial conversation with the merchant, asking them the right questions, figuring out what is truly the best system for them. Because, and I will admit, I've been doing this deal 20 years. And in all today, even more important than ever, to make sure to not take shortcuts and make sure to do it right. So what I would do is, and plus too, and I think this is probably good for everybody to kind of, is you can't wait. If you wait, like if you see something that you can get a toehold on, you go, yeah, I'm going to reach out to the guy next week, you're dead in the water, because someone else will reach out to him for you. And then you're done. I can't tell you how many times I've heard from an agent, oh, my buddy just, and legitimate, my buddy just switched last week. Man, you've been in this deal 2 weeks. How come you didn't call him 2 weeks ago? You can't wait. How's that? Time waits for no man? Well, it doesn't wait for women either. Time waits for nobody. And time is the most valuable thing that you own. It's like Bob Marley said on his deathbed. He said, look, I'm a rich, rich man. I can buy anything in the world I want to buy, but I can't buy more time. So if you've got something, descend upon your agent director like white on rice and go, look, I got this deal. We need to get on this like now. And that's the
and those are the words you need to use with us.
Right.
Show us that you're urgent too, because the other people on the team too, they're going, hey, I need these things done. Tell them we respect your urgency. Absolutely. You've got something cooking that goes to the top. We want to help you get it just as much as you do.
Absolutely, we do. So work your agent director for that. So tomorrow, case study call at noon. Right? We got a case study brewing.
Yep.
I saw some docs on it today. So, especially if you're new, I know a lot of you guys on the phone today got plenty of your own case studies because you've written a heck of a lot of business. But especially if you're new and you really want to get your mind around the strategy, the thought processes that what went on to bring this deal to a head, so we could get it. As John said, open up this new relationship. Come tomorrow at noon. You'll get an email of the call-in information. But thank you again. And then next week we'll be on this too for Acceleration. And again, if you have a topic, if you have something that's just burning in you that you just want to get figured out, because you just know once you get over this piece of it, you're going to have a lot more success, let us know. Let us know what you want to cover on these forums, because there's so many different facets of it that we'll try to do the best. We won't try. We will give you our best. So thank you, everybody. Let's have a great last week of the month, and we'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. If not, we'll see you next week. How's that?
Sounds good. Thanks, Chuck.
Thanks, everybody. Okay, bye-bye.